Do you want to improve your English listening and speaking skills quickly? Are you looking for ways to understand real-life conversations and use what you learn in your daily life? If you said yes, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Language Boost community. In today's episode, we'll explore how you can enhance your listening and speaking skills by learning from real-life experiences and stories. When you listen to these stories, you will improve not just your listening, but also your writing as you start understanding how to express ideas in English naturally. Let me start by telling you about my friend Emily. Emily loves to travel, and she often tells me stories about her trips. One time, she went to Paris, and as soon as she got there, she realized she didn't speak French very well. She had planned to meet some friends who were locals, but they only spoke French. Emily was feeling nervous. At first, she wasn't sure how she could manage the situation, but she remembered the English phrases she had learned and tried to use them. For example, when she asked, "How do I get to the Eiffel Tower?" in English, her friends could understand, and they helped her find the way. What made Emily's experience special is that she wasn't afraid to speak even if her accent wasn't perfect. She focused on communicating, and that's what helped her learn and grow in her English skills. Another story I want to share is about Daniel, my colleague. Daniel and I worked together at an office, and one day we had a meeting with a client from another country. The client spoke English with a strong accent, and at first, it was a bit hard to understand. But Daniel didn't panic. He listened carefully and asked questions to clarify the points he didn't understand. By the end of the meeting, Daniel had managed to explain our ideas so clearly that the client was really impressed. What helped Daniel most was that he wasn't just listening for every single word, but rather for the key ideas that helped him engage in the conversation. If you want to become better at speaking and listening in English, stories like these are very important. When you listen to real-life situations, you start to see how native speakers express themselves and how they use everyday language. As you practice, you'll start to feel more confident, just like Emily and Daniel did. At the Language Boost community, we share more real-life stories to help you improve your English skills every day. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment to tell us about your own experiences with learning English. We'd love to hear from you and continue this learning journey together. So, are you ready to get started? Let's dive into today's episode and see how you can improve your listening and speaking skills with real stories. Let me share a story about my friend Sophia. Sophia used to work in a busy cafe in London. She met people from all over the world, and English was the main language they used to communicate. One day, a tourist came in and asked, "Could you recommend a good place nearby for lunch?" Sophia smiled and replied, "Of course. There's a great Italian restaurant just around the corner." She even added, "Their pasta is amazing, and it's not too expensive." The tourist thanked her and left with a big smile. From Sophia's story, you can learn how simple phrases like "could you recommend" and "there's a great place nearby" are super useful in real life. You can use them when you're traveling, meeting new people, or even helping someone who's lost. It's not just about the words, though, it's about how you say them. Sophia used a friendly tone, which made her communication more effective. Here's another example, this time about my neighbor Liam. Liam was invited to a barbecue by his coworker, and most of the people there were native English speakers. At first, Liam felt shy. He wasn't sure how to join the conversations, but then he remembered a tip he'd learned: ask questions to show interest. So when someone mentioned they loved hiking, Liam asked, "What's your favorite place to hike around here?" That one question started a long and fun conversation. Liam realized that people enjoy talking about their interests, and by asking simple questions, he didn't just improve his speaking but also made new friends. From Liam's story, you can see how asking open-ended questions like, "What's your favorite?" or "Can you tell me about?" can help you connect with others. These phrases are great for starting conversations and showing you're interested in what someone has to say. Now, let's imagine a fantasy story. Picture this. A young woman named Ava is on a solo trip to a small village in Italy. She's walking through the market and sees a stall selling beautiful handmade pottery. She loves the designs, but isn't sure how to ask about the prices in English. She takes a deep breath and says, "Excuse me, how much is this?" The shopkeeper smiles and replies, "This one is 20 euros. Ava then says, "It's beautiful. Did you make it yourself?" The shopkeeper nods proudly and starts telling her about the process of making the pottery. By the end of the conversation, Ava has learned something new and feels proud that she used English to communicate in a real situation. From Ava's story, we learn that polite phrases like "excuse me" and "how much is this" are incredibly helpful when you're shopping or traveling. Adding a follow-up question like "did you make it yourself?" or "can you tell me more about this?" can make the conversation more engaging and enjoyable. Here's a personal story from my own life. A few years ago, I was at a train station and an older couple approached me. They were lost and didn't know how to get to their hotel. They asked, "Can you help us find the main street?" I replied, "Sure. You just need to take this road straight ahead and the main street will be on your left." The couple smiled and thanked me. Before they left, they said, "Your English is very clear. Thank you so much." That moment stuck with me because it showed how simple and clear communication can make a big difference. This story highlights how giving directions can be an important skill. Using phrases like "take this road straight ahead" or "it will be on your left" makes your instructions easy to follow. Practicing these types of sentences will help you feel more confident when someone asks you for help. Learning from real-life stories like these not only improves your vocabulary, but also helps you understand how to use these phrases naturally. Every time you listen to or read a story, try to repeat the phrases out loud and imagine how you could use them in your own life. Let's keep going with even more practical examples. Let me share another story with you, this time about a man named Noah. Noah had always dreamed of working in a big city like New York. One day, after years of hard work, his dream came true. He got a job at a tech company there. On his first day, he had to introduce himself to his new colleagues. He was nervous because he wasn't sure how to sound confident in front of everyone. But then he remembered a tip his mentor had given him. When you introduce yourself, keep it simple and genuine. So when it was his turn to speak, Noah said, "Hi, my name is Noah. I'm really excited to be here. I've been working in tech for 5 years, and I look forward to learning from all of you." Noah's words weren't fancy, but they were clear, and his colleagues appreciated his honesty. From Noah's experience, you can see how a simple introduction can make a big impact. Phrases like "Hi, my name is," and "I'm really excited to be here" are great for any first meeting or introduction. They help break the ice and start the conversation smoothly. You don't need complicated words to make a good impression. Just be clear and show enthusiasm. These phrases are useful whether you're meeting new people at work, school, or even in casual settings. Now, let's imagine another situation. Picture this. Olivia, a young woman who recently moved to a new country, is trying to make friends at her local gym. She's shy and worried about speaking English with others. One day, she decides to try talking to a few people while waiting for the class to begin. She turns to a woman next to her and says, "Hi, how long have you been coming to this gym?" The woman smiles and replies, "I've been coming here for about 6 months. It's a great place." Olivia continues, "I just joined last week. What's your favorite class here?" The conversation flows easily, and before long, Olivia has made a new gym buddy. Olivia's story teaches us the value of asking simple, friendly questions to start conversations. Phrases like, "How long have you been coming here?" or "What's your favorite class?" are easy to use in any social setting, whether you're at a gym, a cafe, or a party. Asking someone about their interests is a great way to get to know them and practice your English. It's a natural way to keep the conversation going and make new friends. Let me tell you about a time when I had to speak English in a difficult situation. It was during a trip to Japan, and I was visiting a local temple. I didn't speak Japanese, and the signs were in a different language. As I was walking around, I noticed a group of tourists trying to find the exit. They seemed confused, so I went up to them and asked, "Are you looking for the exit?" One of the tourists said, "Yes, we've been walking in circles, and we can't find the way out." I pointed toward the main entrance and said, "The exit is back that way. If you walk straight ahead, you'll see the gate." They thanked me and smiled, and I felt good about helping them. This experience shows how you can use simple phrases to give directions or help people when they're lost. Phrases like, "Are you looking for the exit?" or "If you walk straight ahead" are incredibly helpful in situations where people need assistance. These sentences are easy to learn and use in real life, whether you're traveling, at a tourist spot, or even helping someone in your neighborhood. The key is to be polite and clear. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about something more personal. Have you ever been in a situation where you needed to apologize for something? Maybe you accidentally spilled coffee on someone's shirt or were late to a meeting. A good friend of mine, Ethan, had this happen to her once. She was late to a dinner party because of traffic, and she didn't want to seem rude. When she arrived, she quickly apologized to her host, saying, "I'm really sorry I'm late. The traffic was terrible." The host smiled and said, "Don't worry, Ethan. It happens to everyone. We're just glad you're here." Let me tell you about a time when I had to speak English in a difficult situation. It was during a trip to Japan, and I was visiting a local temple. I didn't speak Japanese, and the signs were in a different language. As I was walking around, I noticed a group of tourists trying to find the exit. They seemed confused, so I went up to them and asked, "Are you looking for the exit?" One of the tourists said, "Yes, we've been walking in circles, and we can't find the way out." I pointed toward the main entrance and said, "The exit is back that way. If you walk straight ahead, you'll see the gate." They thanked me and smiled, and I felt good about helping them. This experience shows how you can use simple phrases to give directions or help people when they're lost. Phrases like, "Are you looking for the exit?" or "If you walk straight ahead" are incredibly helpful in situations where people need assistance. These sentences are easy to learn and use in real life, whether you're traveling, at a tourist spot, or even helping someone in your neighborhood. The key is to be polite and clear. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about something more personal. Have you ever been in a situation where you needed to apologize for something? Maybe you accidentally spilled coffee on someone's shirt or were late to a meeting. A good friend of mine, Ethan, had this happen to her once. She was late to a dinner party because of traffic, and she didn't want to seem rude. When she arrived, she quickly apologized to her host, saying, "I'm really sorry I'm late. The traffic was terrible." The host smiled and said, "Don't worry, Ethan. It happens to everyone. We're just glad you're here." Ethan learned that apologizing sincerely with phrases like, "I'm really sorry," or "It was my fault," can help smooth over any awkward situation. You can use these phrases whenever you need to apologize for something small or big, whether it's being late to an event, misunderstanding someone, or even saying something you didn't mean. Using phrases like "I'm really sorry" and "Please forgive me" helps keep the conversation friendly and respectful. Remember, everyone makes mistakes, and a sincere apology goes a long way in building strong relationships. Now, let me take you into another fantasy story where we can learn more useful English phrases. Imagine you're in a magical kingdom where the people speak a special language, and only a few people can understand English. One day, you find a hidden treasure chest, but it's locked and the key is nowhere to be found. You meet a wise old wizard who tells you, if you want to open the chest, you must ask the right question. You ask, "What do I need to know to unlock the chest?" The wizard nods and says, "You must ask for help when you don't know the answer." You follow his advice, ask for help, and the chest opens magically. In this story, you learned that asking for help when you don't know something is important. Phrases like, "What do I need to know?" or "Can you help me?" are great for situations where you feel unsure, whether you're trying to understand a new topic in class, asking for directions, or even getting assistance at work. These phrases make it easier to communicate and solve problems. By practicing these stories and phrases, you can start using them in your own life. When you practice speaking with real examples, you'll be able to remember the words and feel more confident using them in different situations. English isn't just about memorizing words, it's about knowing when and how to use them. Every time you listen to or read a story, think about how you can use the phrases in your own life and try practicing them out loud. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel. Let's imagine another scenario where you're at a store shopping for clothes. You walk into a clothing shop and you're looking for a jacket. A shop assistant approaches and asks, "Can I help you find something?" You smile and say, "Yes, I'm looking for a jacket. Do you have any in size medium?" The shop assistant replies, "We do have some jackets in size medium. Let me show you a few options." You take a look at the jackets and then you ask, "Could I try this one on?" The shop assistant says, "Of course. The fitting rooms are just over there." After trying on the jacket, you look in the mirror and say, "I like this one. How much is it?" The shop assistant gives you the price and you decide to buy it. In this situation, you can use simple and polite phrases like, "Can I help you find something?" which is a helpful question when you're in a store. It's an easy way to offer assistance. You can respond by saying, "I'm looking for a jacket," or "Could I try this one on?" These are easy sentences to use when you want to ask for help or try on clothing. Additionally, when you want to ask about the price, you can say, "How much is this?" This phrase is very common when shopping and is useful in many situations. Now let's talk about a real-life example where you can use English in a social situation. Imagine you're at a party and you meet someone new. You want to start a conversation with them, but don't know where to begin. You decide to ask them, "How do you know the host?" The person smiles and replies, "Oh, I met Emma through work. We've been friends for a few years." You continue the conversation by saying, "That's great. What do you do for work?" The person responds, "I'm a graphic designer. I work at a marketing agency." You nod and say, "That sounds interesting. I've always wanted to learn more about design." The conversation flows naturally from there, and you end up having a great time. The phrases you used in this conversation are simple but effective. You started with, "How do you know the host?" which is a great icebreaker when you meet new people. You can also use, "What do you do for work?" to ask someone about their job. These types of questions are natural ways to keep the conversation going and get to know the other person better. Remember, when you meet new people, asking questions about their interests or background can help you build a connection. Now, let's switch to a story with a bit of fantasy. Imagine you're a knight in a magical kingdom on a quest to find a rare flower that can heal anyone who is sick. You're traveling through the forest, and you come across an old wise woman. She asks, "Why are you traveling through these dangerous woods?" You answer confidently, "I'm on a quest to find the healing flower." The wise woman nods and says, "To find it, you must first pass the river of time. You need to ask the river guardian for help." You continue your journey, and when you reach the river, you meet the guardian who asks, "What is it that you seek?" You reply, "I seek the healing flower, which I need to save someone's life." The guardian smiles and says, "You have the courage to succeed. I will help you cross the river." In this fantasy story, you can see how phrases like, "What is it that you seek?" and "I need help" are used in a situation where you are requesting assistance. These types of phrases can also be helpful in real-life situations when you're asking for help or explaining your needs. Whether it's asking for directions, requesting information, or even asking someone to assist you with a task, knowing how to phrase your request is important. For example, if you're in a store and need help finding something, you can say, "Can you help me find this item?" Or, "I'm looking for a specific product. Could you show me where it is?" These phrases are very useful in everyday situations, just as they are in our fantasy story. Another real-life situation where you might need help is when you're traveling in a new city. Imagine you've just arrived in a foreign country and you're trying to figure out how to get to your hotel. You stop a local person and ask, "Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to the Grand Hotel?" The person smiles and replies, "Yes, go straight down the street, then turn left at the traffic lights. You'll see the hotel on your right." You thank them and say, "Thank you so much for your help." As you continue your journey, in this example, you use simple but helpful phrases like, "Can you tell me how to get to?" which is great when asking for directions. If you need help with anything while traveling, asking questions like, "Where is the nearest bus stop?" or "How far is it from here?" can make it easier to navigate and communicate. These are essential phrases to learn if you're traveling abroad or even navigating a new area in your own city. Let's return to another example where phrases like these can help you at work. Imagine you're in a meeting at your new job and you need to ask for clarification. Your colleague Ryan says something you don't fully understand, and you want to make sure you're on the same page. You raise your hand and say, "Excuse me, could you explain that again? I didn't quite catch that." Ryan kindly repeats what he said, and you feel more confident about understanding the information. This is a great example of how to use phrases like, "Could you explain that again?" or "I didn't quite catch that" when you're unsure about something. These phrases are very useful in meetings, presentations, or any situation where you need more information or clarification. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. Everyone does it, and by using polite phrases, you can communicate more clearly and avoid misunderstandings. So far, we've talked about a lot of useful English phrases, and I hope these examples are helping you see how to use them in real-life situations. Whether you're introducing yourself, making requests, asking for help, or even asking for directions, knowing the right phrases to use can make your life easier and your English sound more natural. Practice these phrases in your daily life, and soon you'll find yourself using them with ease in all sorts of situations. Let's dive deeper into more real-life scenarios and expand on how these phrases can be used in everyday situations so you can feel more confident when speaking English. I'll give you more examples and practical ways to apply these phrases in your life. Imagine you're attending a friend's wedding. You've never met most of the guests before, and you're feeling a bit nervous about striking up conversations. But then you notice someone standing by the dessert table and you decide to approach them. You smile and ask, "Hi, how are you enjoying the wedding so far?" The person smiles back and replies, "It's been great. The ceremony was beautiful and the food is amazing. What about you?" You feel relieved and say, "I'm enjoying it a lot. I love the atmosphere here." This simple exchange helps break the ice, and you feel more comfortable talking to someone new. In this situation, you used a friendly greeting and a question like, "How are you enjoying the wedding so far?" to start a conversation. This is a great example of how to use small talk to make new connections. Small talk can be about the event, the weather, or something you both have in common. Phrases like, "What about you?" or "I love the atmosphere here" are easy to say and help keep the conversation flowing smoothly. The more you practice these small talk questions, the easier it will be to start conversations in any social setting. Now, let's imagine a situation where you're at work and need to ask a colleague for help with a task. You walk up to your coworker Sophie and say, "Hi Sophie, I'm having trouble with this report. Can you help me out?" Sophie looks up from her desk and replies, "Of course. What part are you struggling with?" You explain the part you're unsure about, and Sophie gives you a clear explanation. She says, "Try organizing the data by categories first, then break down the numbers by month. That should make it easier to understand." You thank her and say, "Thank you so much for your help, Sophie. That really clears things up." In this work scenario, you use simple phrases like, "Can you help me out?" and "What part are you struggling with?" to ask for help in a polite and clear way. These phrases are very useful when you need assistance or clarification at work or in any other environment. Remember, asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. It's a way to learn and improve your skills. So don't be afraid to ask your colleagues, friends, or family members for help when you need it. By using these clear and polite phrases, you can ask for assistance without hesitation and get the support you need. Let's switch gears a bit and talk about a situation many of us experience: traveling. Imagine you're in a new city and want to take the bus to a popular tourist spot. You're standing at the bus stop when you notice a person nearby who looks like they might know the area. You decide to ask, "Excuse me, do you know if the bus to the museum stops here?" The person looks up and replies, "Yes, it does. The bus should be here in about 5 minutes. Just wait at the stop sign and hop on." You thank them and say, "Thanks a lot for the information. I really appreciate it." In this situation, the phrase, "Do you know if the bus to the museum stops here?" is a clear and direct way to ask for information. When you're traveling or exploring a new place, you'll often need to ask for directions or transportation information. Phrases like, "Where is the nearest bus stop?" or "How long does it take to get there?" are great for getting the information you need. When you ask for directions or help, make sure to use polite language like "Excuse me" and "Thanks a lot for the information" to show your appreciation. Being polite and respectful will help you have a more positive experience, especially in unfamiliar places. Let's now explore another situation where you might use English. Imagine you're at a job interview for a position you really want. The interviewer asks, "Tell me about yourself and why you're interested in this role." You take a deep breath and start with a confident reply, "I'm a motivated individual with a passion for marketing. I've worked for 2 years in digital marketing, where I manage social media campaigns and analyze market trends. I'm excited about this role because I admire your company's commitment to innovation, and I believe my skills will help contribute to your growth. In this situation, you used clear sentences like, I'm a motivated individual, and I'm excited about this role because, to introduce yourself and explain your qualifications. These are powerful ways to present your experience and interest during a job interview. When answering questions in an interview, it's important to highlight your strengths and make a connection between your skills and the role you're applying for. Using phrases like, I've worked for 2 years in, or I'm excited about this role because, will help you sound confident and professional. These types of answers can be used in interviews, presentations, and anytime you're asked to talk about your background or qualifications. Now, let's add a little fantasy element to the story again. Imagine you're a wizard in a magical kingdom, and you're about to face a challenge in a dark, mysterious cave. The cave is full of strange creatures, and you need to use your powers to find the hidden treasure. As you enter the cave, you encounter a wise old owl who asks, what is your purpose here, young wizard? You reply confidently, I'm on a quest to find the lost treasure and protect my village. The owl nods and says, to find the treasure, you must solve 3 riddles. Answer them correctly, and the treasure will be yours. In this magical scenario, you use the phrase, I'm on a quest to explain your purpose clearly. This is a great phrase to use in real-life situations when you want to explain what you're doing or why you're doing it. For example, if you're visiting a museum and someone asks why you're there, you could say, I'm here to learn more about art history, or I'm on a quest to discover new places in the city. This type of phrase adds a sense of purpose and excitement to your explanation, and it can help keep your conversations interesting. Let's move back to a real-life situation. Picture yourself at a coffee shop with a friend. You're chatting about your plans for the weekend, and you say, I'm thinking about going hiking on Saturday. Do you want to join me? Your friend smiles and responds, that sounds fun. I've always wanted to try hiking. Where do you plan to go? You tell them, I'm thinking of the mountain trail near the lake. It's a beautiful spot, and the view from the top is amazing. In this conversation, you use the phrase, do you want to join me, to invite someone to join your plans. This is a very natural way to ask someone to participate in an activity. You also used that sounds fun to show enthusiasm for the idea. When you're planning activities with others, you can use phrases like, what do you think about going hiking? Or would you like to join me for a coffee? These phrases are perfect for casual conversations, and they help you invite others in a friendly, approachable way. I hope these examples are helping you see how English can be used in all sorts of everyday situations. Whether you're meeting new people, traveling, working, or having fun with friends, knowing how to use these phrases will make your conversations feel natural and confident. By practicing these phrases in your daily life, you'll soon find that speaking English becomes second nature. Scenario 1. Making weekend plans. Let's say you are planning to visit a park in your city. You could say to your friend Nathan, I am planning to visit Riverside Park this Saturday. Would you like to join me? We could have a nice walk by the lake and maybe grab some coffee afterward. Nathan might respond, that sounds great. What time should we meet? You answer, let's meet at 10 a.m. at the entrance of the park. Does that time work for you? Nathan agrees. Yes, 10 a.m. works perfectly. I'll see you there. Scenario 2. Ordering food at a cafe. Imagine you're at a cafe called Morning Brew and the barista Olivia greets you. She says, what can I get for you today? You reply, I would like a large cappuccino and a chocolate croissant, please. Olivia then asks, would you like any sugar or milk in your cappuccino? You say, yes, I would like a little sugar but no milk, please. Olivia responds, got it. Your order will be ready in just a few minutes. Scenario 3. Asking for directions. Let's say you are at a shopping mall called Pineview Mall and you need help finding the restroom. You approach a mall employee Ethan and ask, excuse me, could you please tell me where the restrooms are located? Ethan might reply, sure, the restrooms are on the 2nd floor near the food court. You thank him saying, thank you very much for your help. I really appreciate it. Ethan says, you're welcome. Have a great day. Scenario 4. Discussing a work project. Imagine you are talking with your colleague Sophia at your office. You could start the conversation by saying, I have been thinking about our project and I believe we can improve the timeline by breaking it down into smaller tasks. This way we can stay more focused. Sophia responds, "That's a great idea. How do you suggest we start?" You explain, "We could assign a specific deadline for each task and have a quick meeting every week to check our progress." Sophia agrees. "I like that idea. Let's try it and see how it goes." Scenario 5. Grocery shopping. Imagine you are at a grocery store called Fresh Harvest, and you need to find some tomatoes. You approach a store employee Liam and ask, "Excuse me, could you help me find where the tomatoes are located?" Liam might point and say, "Sure, the tomatoes are in aisle 4 next to the lettuce." You say, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help." Liam responds, "You're welcome. Enjoy your shopping." Scenario 6. Booking a hotel room. Imagine you are traveling to a city for the weekend and you need to book a hotel room. You call the hotel and say, "Hello, I would like to book a single room for 2 nights starting this Friday. Could you please tell me if you have any available rooms?" The receptionist Ava responds, "Sure, we have a single room available for those dates. Would you prefer a room with a view of the city or one with a view of the garden?" You reply, "I would prefer a room with a view of the city, please." Ava confirms, "Great choice. Your room is reserved for Friday and Saturday. We look forward to your stay." Scenario 7. Talking about your daily routine. Now imagine you are talking to a friend Jacob about your daily routine. You say, "I usually wake up at 7 a.m. every day and the first thing I do is make a cup of coffee. After that I check my emails and prepare breakfast. I leave for work around 8:30 a.m. Jacob responds, "That sounds pretty organized. What do you do when you get home from work?" You reply, "When I get home, I relax for a bit, then I usually cook dinner. After dinner, I like to watch a movie or read a book before going to bed." Scenario 8. Giving a compliment. Imagine you are at a friend's house and you notice they have a beautiful painting hanging on the wall. You could say, "Wow, that painting is amazing. Where did you get it?" Your friend Emma might respond, "Thank you. I bought it at an art gallery last year. It's one of my favorite pieces." You reply, "It's definitely a great choice. The colors are so vibrant and it really adds life to the room." Scenario 9. Asking for help at work. Let's say you are working on a project and you need help from a colleague. You approach them and say, "Hi Noah, I'm working on this report and I'm having some trouble with the analysis. Would you be able to help me out?" Noah responds, "Of course. What part are you struggling with?" You explain, "I'm not sure how to present the data in a clear way. Could you give me some advice on how to organize it?" Noah gives you some tips and you say, "Thank you, Noah. That's really helpful. I'll try that right away." Scenario 10. Talking about travel plans. Now, let's imagine you are discussing your travel plans with a friend Isabella. You say, "I'm planning to visit Paris next month. I've always wanted to see the Eiffel Tower and visit the Louvre Museum. I'm so excited." Isabella asks, "That sounds amazing. When exactly are you going?" You reply, "I'm flying out on the 15th of next month. I'll be there for a week." Isabella responds, "That sounds like a perfect trip. Do you need any recommendations for things to do while you're there?" Scenario 11. Discussing a movie you watched. Let's say you recently watched a movie and you want to tell your friend Mason about it. You say, "I watched a great movie last night called The Great Adventure. It was about a group of friends who travel the world to find a hidden treasure. The plot was so exciting and the acting was fantastic." Mason asks, "That sounds awesome. What was your favorite part?" You reply, "My favorite part was when they finally found the treasure, but there was a surprise twist at the end that I didn't expect." Mason responds, "Wow, that sounds like an amazing movie. I need to watch it too." Scenario 12. Asking for a recommendation. Imagine you're at a bookstore and you're looking for a good book to read. You approach the store clerk Charlotte and ask, "Excuse me, do you have any recommendations for a good mystery novel?" Charlotte responds, "Sure. If you like a thrilling story, I recommend The Secret Key. It's about a detective who uncovers a hidden conspiracy. It's really gripping." You ask, "That sounds interesting. How long is the book?" Charlotte replies, "It's about 300 pages, so it's a quick read." You thank them and say, "Great, I'll take it." Scenario 13. Talking about your favorite food, imagine you're at a friend's house and they ask you what's your favorite type of food. You respond, my favorite food is Italian cuisine. I love pasta, pizza, and lasagna. There's something about the combination of fresh tomatoes, basil, and garlic that really makes the dishes stand out. I also enjoy Italian desserts like tiramisu and cannoli. They are so delicious, especially when they are freshly made. Your friend William asks, wow, sounds amazing. Do you cook Italian food at home? You reply, I try to cook Italian dishes at home, especially pasta. I love making a rich tomato sauce from scratch. Scenario 14. Talking about your weekend plans. Let's say you're talking to a coworker Amelia about your upcoming weekend plans. You could say, this weekend I'm planning to go hiking with some friends. We're going to a national park that's about an hour away from the city. The weather is supposed to be perfect, so it should be a great time to enjoy the outdoors. I'm really looking forward to it because it's been a while since I went hiking. Amelia responds, that sounds fun. Do you usually go hiking on weekends? You reply, I try to go hiking whenever I can, but it depends on the weather. Sometimes I'll go for a walk in the park if the weather isn't ideal for a hike. Scenario 15. Talking about a recent purchase. Let's say you recently bought a new smartphone and you want to share the experience with a friend Benjamin. You could say, I just bought a new smartphone and I'm really excited about it. It has an amazing camera, which was one of the main reasons I bought it. I love taking photos and now I can capture even better pictures. The phone also has a super fast processor, so everything runs really smoothly. Benjamin asks, that sounds great. What model did you get? You reply, I got the latest model from Apple. It's got a bigger screen and longer battery life, which is perfect for my daily use. Scenario 16. Discussing your favorite movie genre. Imagine you're talking to a friend Harper about your favorite type of movie. You could say, I really enjoy action movies, especially ones with a lot of adventure and excitement. My favorite movie is Inception. I love how the plot keeps you guessing until the very end. The special effects are amazing and the action scenes are really intense. Harper responds, that's one of my favorites too. Do you watch action movies often? You reply, I do. I try to watch an action movie at least once a week. I find them really entertaining, especially after a long day. Scenario 17. Giving directions. Imagine you're helping a tourist find their way around the city. They ask, excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the nearest bus station? You respond, sure. You need to walk straight ahead for about 2 blocks, then take a left turn and you should see the bus station on your right. It's next to a coffee shop, so you can't miss it. The tourist thanks you and says, thank you so much. How long will it take to get there? You reply, it should take around 10 minutes to walk there, depending on how fast you walk. Scenario 18. Discussing a book you're reading. Let's say you're reading a new book and want to talk about it with a friend Evelyn. You could say, I'm currently reading a book called The Silent Observer. It's a mystery novel about a detective who solves crimes by paying close attention to small details that others miss. It's a really gripping read, and I can't put it down. The main character is very interesting and I like how the author builds suspense throughout the story. Evelyn asks, that sounds interesting. How far along are you in the book? You reply, I'm about halfway through and I'm already hooked. I'm curious to see how it ends. Scenario 19. Talking about a recent trip to the beach. Imagine you just returned from a trip to the beach and want to tell your friend Samuel all about it. You say, I went to the beach last weekend and it was such a relaxing experience. The weather was perfect and the water was warm and clear. I spent the day swimming, sunbathing, and reading a book. It was so peaceful and I didn't want to leave. Samuel asks, that sounds wonderful. Was it crowded at the beach? You reply, it wasn't too crowded, which was nice. There were a few people, but it wasn't so busy that it felt uncomfortable. Scenario 20. Asking for recommendations on where to eat. Let's say you're in a new city and want to know where to find a good restaurant. You ask a local Victoria, excuse me, could you recommend a good place to eat around here? Victoria responds, sure. If you like Italian food, there's a great restaurant called Bella Italia just around the corner. They have amazing pizza and pasta. If you're in the mood for something different, there's also a sushi bar down the street that's very popular. You reply, thanks. I love Italian food, so I'll definitely check out Bella Italia. Scenario 21. Talking about a family tradition. Let's say you're explaining a special tradition in your family to a friend, Gabriel. You could say, in my family, we have a tradition where every year we gather together for a big dinner on New Year's Eve. We all bring our favorite dishes and we share stories from the past year. It's a time for us to reconnect and celebrate being together. After the dinner, we usually go outside and watch the fireworks. It's always a magical moment, and I really look forward to it every year. Gabriel asks, that sounds so nice. How long have you been doing this tradition? You reply, we've been doing it for as long as I can remember. It's a tradition that's been passed down from my grandparents. Scenario 22. Asking for help with something. Imagine you're struggling with something and need to ask a friend, Zoe, for help. You could say, hey Zoe, could you help me with something? I'm having trouble understanding this new software I'm trying to use for work. I've watched a few tutorials, but I'm still not sure how to do certain things. Would you mind showing me how to create a new project on it? Zoe responds, of course, I'm happy to help. Let's take a look together and I'll walk you through the steps. You reply, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Scenario 23. Talking about your daily routine. Let's say you're explaining your daily routine to a colleague, Leo. You could say, on weekdays, my day usually starts at 7 a.m. I wake up, take a shower, and then I have breakfast. I like to have a cup of coffee and some toast with jam. After that, I head to work. I usually get there by 8:30 a.m. My workday is pretty busy, but I always make time for a lunch break around noon. After work, I go to the gym for an hour before heading home. In the evening, I like to relax by reading or watching TV. Leo asks, wow, it sounds like you have a very organized routine. How do you manage to fit everything in? You reply, I try to stay organized and make a schedule so I can balance everything. It helps me stay on track. Scenario 24. Giving advice to a friend. Imagine you're talking to a friend, Hannah, who's feeling a bit stressed and needs advice. You could say, I understand that you're feeling overwhelmed, but try not to stress too much. It's important to take breaks when you need them. I've found that taking a short walk outside or practicing some deep breathing can really help clear your mind. Also, try to break your tasks into smaller steps. It's much easier to focus on one thing at a time, and it can help you feel more in control. Hannah asks, thanks for the advice. I'll try to do that. Do you always find time to take breaks? You reply, I make sure to take breaks throughout the day. It's important to rest so that I can be more productive. Scenario 25. Talking about your hobbies. Let's say you're discussing your hobbies with someone you just met, Elijah. You could say, in my free time, I really enjoy photography. I love taking pictures of nature, especially landscapes and flowers. I've been learning how to use different camera settings to get the best shot, and it's been a fun challenge. I also like to write in my journal. It's a great way to reflect on my day and express my thoughts. I try to write at least a few sentences every evening before bed. Elijah asks, that sounds really interesting. How did you get into photography? You reply, I've always had an interest in photography, but I started taking it more seriously about a year ago. I bought a DSLR camera and started practicing every weekend. Scenario 26. Talking about a recent movie you watched. Imagine you watched a movie recently and want to share your thoughts about it with a friend, Scarlett. You could say, I watched a movie called The Grand Adventure last weekend, and it was incredible. The plot was about a group of friends who went on an unforgettable trip across the world. There were a lot of twists and turns, and it kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. The actors were amazing, and the cinematography was beautiful. I highly recommend it if you enjoy action-packed films. Scarlett asks, that sounds exciting. What was your favorite part? You reply, my favorite part was when they had to solve a puzzle to escape a dangerous situation. It was so clever and unexpected. Scenario 27. Asking for advice on a new job. Let's say you've recently started a new job and want to ask a more experienced colleague, Julian, for advice. You could say, I'm really enjoying my new role, but I'm still getting used to the workflow. Do you have any tips on how to manage my time better? I sometimes feel like there's so much to do, and I'm not sure how to prioritize tasks. Julian responds, I totally understand. One thing that helps me is to create a to-do list at the start of each day. I write down the most important tasks and tackle those first. I also try to avoid multitasking because it can slow me down. You reply, that's a great idea. I'll start making a to-do list every morning. Scenario 28. Talking about a recent event you attended. Imagine you went to a concert or event recently and you want to share your experience with a friend. Lily. You could say, I went to a concert last Saturday and it was amazing. The band played all my favorite songs and the energy in the crowd was unbelievable. I've been a fan of this band for years, so seeing them live was a dream come true. The atmosphere was incredible and I even got to meet some of the band members after the show. Lily asks, that sounds like a fantastic experience. Was it your first time seeing them live? You reply, yes it was. I've always wanted to go to one of their concerts and I'm so glad I finally had the chance. Scenario 29. Talking about your favorite book. Let's imagine you're talking to a friend, Christopher, about your favorite book. You could say, one of my all-time favorite books is The Secret Garden. It's a beautiful story about a girl named Mary who discovers a hidden garden and brings it back to life. The themes of friendship, personal growth, and the healing power of nature are so touching. I first read it when I was younger and I loved it back then, but reading it again as an adult gave me a new perspective. It's amazing how certain stories can grow with you, don't you think? Christopher might ask, that sounds wonderful. What part of the book stood out to you the most? You reply, I think the most moving part is when Mary and her friend Colin start taking care of the garden together. They're both such different characters at the beginning, but through their work in the garden they change and grow. It's a powerful symbol of personal transformation. Scenario 30. Describing a funny incident at work. Let's say you want to tell your friend Natalie about a funny incident that happened at work. You could say, so yesterday something hilarious happened at the office. We were all having lunch in the break room when my coworker Daniel spilled coffee all over his shirt. It wasn't just a little spill, it was a full-on disaster. The whole place was silent for a moment, and then we all burst out laughing. Daniel turned bright red and tried to clean it up, but it just made it worse. Everyone started helping him find a new shirt, and we all ended up laughing even harder. It was one of those moments that you just can't forget. Natalie might ask, that sounds like it was so funny. How did Daniel handle it? You reply, he took it like a champ. He joked about how he's always the one who makes things go wrong, and by the end of the day everyone was teasing him in a good-natured way. Scenario 31. Talking about a trip to a new city. Imagine you're telling a friend Dominic about a trip you took to a new city. You could say, last summer I had the chance to visit New York City for the first time. It was an unforgettable experience. The city is so vibrant with something exciting happening everywhere you look. I spent the first day exploring Central Park and then walked down to Times Square. The lights, the energy, it was all so overwhelming. I also visited a few museums and I was amazed by the art collections. The best part of the trip though was when I took a ferry to see the Statue of Liberty. The view of the skyline from the water was breathtaking. It made me realize how small I am compared to the world. Dominic might ask, wow, that sounds amazing. What was your favorite thing about the city? You reply, I think the best part was the atmosphere. Everyone is always in a hurry, but at the same time there's this feeling of being part of something bigger than yourself. It's hard to explain, but it felt like being in the middle of the world. Scenario 32. Explaining a difficult situation at work. Let's say you're explaining a challenging situation that happened at work to a colleague, Victoria. You could say, last week we were working on a big project with a tight deadline. Everything was going well until one of the team members, Rachel, had to take an unexpected leave. That left the rest of us scrambling to finish everything on time. It was stressful because we were all working long hours, but we managed to pull it off in the end. The project turned out great, and we all felt a huge sense of accomplishment. It wasn't easy, but I think we learned a lot about teamwork and staying calm under pressure. Victoria might ask, that sounds like it was really tough. How did you all manage to finish the project? You reply, we just worked together as a team and kept communicating with each other. We divided the tasks based on who had the most time to dedicate, and that made a big difference. Scenario 33. Talking about a new skill you're learning. Let's say you're discussing a new skill you're learning with a friend, Jonathan. You could say, I've recently started learning how to play the guitar. I've always wanted to learn, but I never had the time. Now I'm dedicating a little bit of time every day to practice. At first it was really challenging. My fingers hurt from pressing down the strings, and I couldn't keep up with the rhythm. But after a few weeks I started to get the hang of it. I can now play some basic chords, and I'm feeling more confident. It's really rewarding to see my progress, and I'm excited to keep improving. Jonathan might ask, "That's awesome. How long have you been practicing?" You reply, "I've been practicing for about a month now, and I'm already seeing some improvement." Scenario 34. Giving directions to a visitor. Imagine you have a visitor, Sophie, who's new to your city, and you need to give them directions. You could say, "To get to the museum from here, go straight down the street until you reach the intersection. Once you're there, take a left and walk for about 5 minutes. The museum will be on your right, just past the park. You can't miss it." If you're not sure where you are, there's a big fountain in front of the building that should help you find it. Sophie might ask, "Thanks. Is it easy to get there from the train station?" You reply, "Yes, it's really easy. Just take the main exit from the station, walk straight for 2 blocks, and then turn right at the traffic lights. The museum will be right ahead." Scenario 35. Talking about a recent movie you watched. Imagine you've just watched a movie and you want to tell your friend Nathaniel about it. You could say, "I saw an amazing movie last weekend called The Last Adventure. It's about a group of explorers who traveled to a mysterious island in the middle of the ocean. The special effects were incredible, especially when they showed the creatures that live on the island. But the best part of the movie was the storyline. It's not just about the adventure. It's about friendship and trust." The main character Alex learns that even when everything seems impossible, having people you trust makes all the difference. I really enjoyed it because it reminded me of how important it is to work together. Nathaniel might ask, "That sounds great. What was your favorite scene?" You reply, "My favorite scene was when Alex and his friends had to work together to escape from a dangerous situation. It was so intense and you could see the tension between the characters. But in the end, they managed to get through it as a team. It was a powerful message about teamwork and loyalty." Scenario 37. Telling a friend about a dream vacation. Let's say you're discussing your dream vacation with a friend, Theodore. You could say, "My dream vacation would be to visit Japan. I've always wanted to explore the culture and see all the beautiful temples and gardens. I've heard that Kyoto is especially magical in the spring because of all the cherry blossoms. I would love to take a boat ride down the canals, visit traditional tea houses, and even try my hand at a tea ceremony. I'd also want to visit Tokyo to experience the vibrant city life, see the tall skyscrapers, and try all the delicious food, especially sushi. The thought of experiencing the mix of old and new in Japan really excites me." Theodore might ask, "That sounds incredible. What would you do first if you went there?" You reply, "I think I would start by visiting Kyoto. I've seen so many pictures of the cherry blossoms there, and it looks so peaceful. It would be the perfect way to start my dream vacation." Scenario 38. Explaining a mistake you made at work. Let's say you made a mistake at work and need to explain it to your boss, Eleanor. You could say, "I wanted to apologize for the error I made on the report. I misinterpreted the data in one of the sections, and I can see now how that affected the results. I should have double-checked my calculations before submitting the report, but I was rushing to meet the deadline and I missed it. I understand the importance of accuracy and I've learned from this mistake. I'll be more careful in the future and take extra time to review my work before submitting it." Eleanor might respond, "Thank you for being honest about it. Mistakes happen, but it's important to learn from them. What steps are you going to take to make sure this doesn't happen again?" You reply, "I've already started setting aside more time to review my work and double-check all the details. I'm also planning to ask a colleague to look over my reports before I submit them. I think this will help ensure the quality of my work." Scenario 39. Talking about a surprise you received. Let's say you received a surprise gift and you want to tell a friend, Juliet, about it. You could say, "I was so surprised last weekend when my sister gave me a gift for no reason. I didn't expect anything at all and it really made my day. She gave me a beautiful leather wallet and it was exactly what I had been looking for. It felt so thoughtful because I never mentioned needing a new wallet. I think it's the little things that really show how well someone knows you. I was so touched by the gesture, and I couldn't stop smiling the whole day. Juliet might ask, "That's so sweet. How did you react when you first saw the gift?" You reply, "At first I was totally shocked. I didn't even know what to say. I think I just kept saying, 'Thank you so much,' over and over because I was so happy. It really made me appreciate the small surprises in life." Scenario 40. Giving advice about learning a new skill. Let's say you're giving advice to a friend, Sebastian, who's learning a new skill, such as playing an instrument or learning a language. You could say, "The most important thing when learning something new is to stay persistent. I know it can be frustrating at first, but don't give up. When I started learning how to cook, I wasn't very good and I made a lot of mistakes. But the more I practiced, the better I got." The same goes for learning a new language or an instrument. Practice is key. I also recommend breaking down the skill into smaller tasks so it doesn't feel so overwhelming. Start by mastering the basics and then gradually challenge yourself with more advanced things. Celebrate your small victories along the way too, because it helps to keep you motivated. Sebastian might ask, "What did you find most challenging when you were learning to cook?" You reply, "I think the hardest part was learning how to balance flavors. But once I understood the importance of seasoning, everything started to come together." Scenario 41. Making small talk at a party or at a social gathering. When you meet Oliver, you say, "This is a great party, isn't it? The music selection is fantastic." Oliver replies, "Absolutely. Do you know the host well?" You respond, "Yes, I've been friends with Aria since college. How about you?" Oliver says, "Actually, I just moved here last month. This is my first time meeting most people." Scenario 42. Ordering at a restaurant. The waiter Lucas approaches your table. "Are you ready to order?" You say, "Yes, I'll have the grilled salmon with roasted vegetables, please." Lucas asks, "Would you like any appetizers to start?" You reply, "The bruschetta looks delicious. We'll share one order of that." Lucas nods. "Excellent choice. Your food will be out shortly." Scenario 43. Asking about someone's weekend. You ask your coworker Elena, "How was your weekend? Did you do anything special?" Elena responds, "It was wonderful. My husband and I took our kids to the zoo on Saturday." You say, "That sounds like fun. What was their favorite animal?" Elena laughs, "The penguins, without a doubt. We must have watched them for an hour." Scenario 44. Giving directions to a tourist. A tourist Mateo stops you on the street. "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the art museum?" You reply, "Of course. Walk straight for 2 blocks, then turn left on Maple Street. The museum will be on your right. You can't miss the modern glass building." Mateo thanks you. "That's very helpful. Is it open late tonight?" You answer, "Yes, until 9 p.m. on Fridays." Scenario 45. Discussing work projects in a team meeting. Nora asks, "What's the status of the marketing campaign?" You respond, "We're about 75% complete. The graphics team is finalizing the visuals, and copywriting should be done by Wednesday." Nora nods. "Great progress. Let's schedule a review for Thursday morning." You agree. I'll set up the meeting and send invites. Scenario 46. Talking about hobbies at a community event. Xavier asks, "What do you enjoy doing in your free time?" You say, "I'm really into photography, especially nature shots. Last weekend I went hiking to capture the sunrise." Xavier responds, "That's impressive. I've always wanted to learn photography." You offer, "I'd be happy to show you some basics sometime." Scenario 47. Asking for help in a store. You approach store employee Clara. "Could you help me find the baking supplies?" Clara smiles, "Certainly. The baking aisle is right this way. Were you looking for something specific?" You explain, "I need cake flour and vanilla extract for a recipe." Clara leads the way. "Here we are. The vanilla is on the top shelf." Scenario 48. Discussing travel plans. Your friend Gabriel asks, "Any exciting trips coming up?" You share, "Yes. I'm going to Italy next month. First Rome, then Florence, and ending in Venice." Gabriel says, "That sounds amazing. Have you been before?" You reply, "No, this will be my first time. I've been studying basic Italian phrases to prepare." Scenario 49. Giving a presentation at work. You begin your presentation. "Good morning, everyone. Today, I'll be discussing our Q3 sales projections. Your colleague Isla asks, how does this compare to last year's numbers? You answer, we're seeing a 12% increase overall, with particularly strong growth in the Midwest region. Isla nods, that's encouraging news. Scenario 50, making plans with friends. You text your friend Julian, want to get together this weekend? Maybe try that new Thai place? Julian replies, sounds great. How about Saturday at 7? You respond, perfect. I'll make reservations for 4. Should I invite Mia and Ethan too? Julian agrees. Yes, the more the merrier. Scenario 51. At the doctor's office, the nurse Sophia asks, how have you been feeling since your last visit? You say, much better overall, though I still get occasional headaches. Sophia notes, I'll let Dr. Bennett know. Any other symptoms to report? You add, just some trouble sleeping, but that's improved since I started exercising more. Scenario 52. Job interview questions. The interviewer Nathan asks, tell me about a challenge you faced at work and how you handled it. You respond, last quarter, we had a tight deadline with limited staff. I reorganized our workflow and delegated tasks effectively, allowing us to deliver the project on time. Nathan follows up, what did you learn from that experience? Scenario 53. Parent-teacher conference. Teacher Mrs. Patel says, your daughter Emma is doing very well in math. You ask, how is she progressing with reading comprehension? Mrs. Patel responds, she's improved significantly since September. I'd suggest continuing nightly reading together. You nod. We'll keep that up. Thank you for the update. Scenario 54. Car repair shop. The mechanic Diego explains, your car needs new brake pads. You ask, how soon does this need to be done? Diego advises, within the next 2 weeks for safety. The total will be about $250. You respond, okay, can you schedule the repair for Thursday morning? Diego checks. We have a 9 a.m. slot available. Scenario 55. Bank transaction. The teller Rachel asks, how can I help you today? You say, I'd like to deposit this check and withdraw $200 cash. Rachel processes it. Would you like the cash in 20s or 50s? You reply, 5 20s and the rest in 50s, please. Rachel hands you the money. Here you go. Anything else? Scenario 56. Gym conversation. Your workout partner Marcus asks, ready for leg day? You groan. Do we have to? I'm still sore from Monday. Marcus laughs. No pain, no gain. Let's start with squats. You agree. Fine, but you're spotting me on the heavy sets. Marcus nods. Deal. 3 sets of 12 to start. Scenario 57. Hair salon appointment. Stylist Jasmine asks, same cut as last time? You say, maybe a bit shorter in the back. What do you think about adding layers? Jasmine suggests, that would give you more volume. I'll texturize the ends too. You agree. Sounds perfect. And just a trim on the bangs, please. Scenario 58. Real estate discussion. Agent Mr. Thompson shows you a house. This one has an updated kitchen. You ask, how old is the roof? He checks, replaced 3 years ago. The inspection report shows everything in good condition. You note, the backyard is smaller than we wanted though. Scenario 59. Tech support call. The technician Aaron asks, have you tried restarting your router? You answer, yes, twice. The connection drops every few minutes. Aaron says, let me run a diagnostic. What's the model number? You read it off. It's the XJ 4500. We got it last November. Scenario 60. Book club meeting. Moderator Claire asks, what did everyone think of this month's selection? You share, I love the character development, but found the pacing slow in parts. Another member Ryan agrees. The middle section dragged, though the ending was powerful. Claire nods. Interesting perspectives. Let's discuss the symbolism next. Scenario 61. Coffee shop chat. Barista Liam greets you. Your usual latte today. You smile. Actually, I'll try the new caramel macchiato. Liam prepares it. Good choice. Would you like that with oat milk like last time? You confirm. Yes, please. And a blueberry muffin too. Scenario 62. Flight check-in. Agent MS. Chin asks, Window or aisle seat? You request aisle if possible. And can I check this bag? MS. Chin tags it. Your gate is B12, boarding at 3:15. You ask, is the flight on time? She checks. Yes, no delays reported. Enjoy your trip. Scenario 63. Volunteer Orientation Coordinator Mr. Davis explains, we need help sorting donations. You ask, what time should I arrive Saturday? He responds, any time after 8 a.m. works. We'll provide training. You confirm, I'll be there at 8:30. Should I bring anything? He says, just comfortable clothes. Scenario 64. Pet grooming appointment groomer Tiffany asks, how short for Max today? You decide, about an inch all over, but leave his tail fluffy. Tiffany notes, and his usual nail trim. You add, yes, and please check his ears too. He's been shaking his head a lot. Scenario 65. Pharmacy pickup pharmacist Dr. Wilson asks, do you have any questions about this medication? You inquire, should I take it with food? He advises, yes, and avoid grapefruit juice. Side effects are rare, but call us if you get dizzy. You nod, I'll watch for that. Thank you. Scenario 66. Home improvement store employee Carlos asks, finding everything okay? You explain, I need supplies to install a ceiling fan. Carlos guides you. You'll need wire connectors, a mounting bracket, and of course the fan itself. The electrical aisle is this way. You thank him. Perfect. That saves me time. Scenario 67. Yoga class instructor Priya adjusts your pose. Remember to breathe deeply. You ask, should my feet be wider? She demonstrates, about hip width apart, toes pointing forward. You correct, like this. Priya approves, yes, much better alignment now. Scenario 68. Library conversation librarian Mrs. Lee asks, are you enjoying that novel? You reply, the plot twist surprised me. Do you have the sequel? She checks. It's checked out, but I can reserve it for you. You accept. That would be great. How long is the wait? She says, about 2 weeks. Scenario 69. Farmers market vendor Jorge offers, try a sample of our honey. You taste it. This is delicious. Is it local? Jorge confirms, from our hives just outside town. You decide, I'll take 2 jars. Do you take credit cards? He nods, yes, we have a mobile reader. Scenario 70. Art gallery visit curator MS. Rivera explains, this collection explores urban landscapes. You observe, the use of light is striking. She agrees. The artist photographs at dawn. You ask, are prints available? She directs you, at the gift shop. They're quite affordable. Scenario 71. Dentist appointment hygienist Amy says, your gums look healthier. You ask, still using this special toothpaste? She confirms, yes, keep that up. No cavities today. The dentist Dr. Kim adds, but we should discuss replacing that old filling next visit. Scenario 72. Tailor's shop tailor Mr. Rossi pins your hem. 2 inches shorter? You confirm, yes, and could you take in the waist slightly? He marks it, like this? It will be ready Friday. You ask, do you do alterations on leather jackets too? He nods, bring it by for an estimate. Scenario 73. Cooking class chef Andre demonstrates, first will julienne the vegetables. You ask, should the strips be thinner? He adjusts, about matchstick size. Here, try with this knife. You attempt it. Better. Chef approves. Excellent knife skills. Now the sauce. Scenario 74. Bike repair shop mechanic Jamal inspects. Your chain needs replacing. You ask, can you tune the gears too? He agrees. Standard service includes that. It'll be ready by 5. You confirm. Great. I'll pick it up after work. Do you sell bike locks here too? Scenario 75. Hotel check-in receptionist Mr. Park welcomes you. We have your reservation. You ask, could I get a higher floor room? He checks. Yes, room 1210 with a city view. You request, and a late checkout if possible. He responds, I can extend until 1 p.m. Sunday. Scenario 76. Wine tasting event sommelier Lucia pours. Notice the blackberry notes. You swirl the glass. It's fruitier than I expected. She suggests, try it with our aged cheese. You do. The pairing really brings out the oak flavors. Lucia smiles. Exactly. The tannins soften. Scenario 77. College Advising Meeting Advisor Dr. Carter reviews. Your GPA meets the requirement. You ask, should I take the advanced statistics course? He considers, only if you're strong in math. The intro class may be better. You decide, I'll start with the fundamentals then. Scenario 78. Car Rental Counter Agent MS. Gomez asks, compact or midsize? You request, something fuel-efficient for highway driving. She suggests, the hybrid gets 50 miles per gallon. You agree. Perfect. Does it have Bluetooth? She confirms, yes, and Apple CarPlay. Just sign here. Scenario 79. Photography workshop instructor Derek critiques. Your composition is strong. You ask, should I use a faster shutter speed? He advises, try 1/500 to freeze the action. Bracket your shots. You adjust, like this. Derek nods. Yes, that should capture the motion sharply. Scenario 80. Community garden coordinator Maya assigns. Your plot is near the shed. You ask, are there watering restrictions? She explains, mornings only, and we provide compost. You confirm. Can I plant vegetables now? She checks. Wait 2 more weeks for frost danger to pass. Scenario 81. At the vet's office, the veterinarian Dr. Bennett examines your cat. How long has Whiskers been lethargic? You explain, about 3 days. She's also eating less. Dr. Bennett checks her temperature, slightly elevated. Let's run some blood work. You ask, could it be an infection? He nods. That's what we'll check first. Scenario 82. Home Security Consultation Technician Raj surveys your house. Motion sensors would work well here. You inquire, what's the detection range? He demonstrates, about 30 feet with pet immunity. You consider, would that cover the backyard gate too? Raj suggests, better to add a second sensor there. Scenario 83. Music lesson piano teacher MS. Chin corrects, relax your wrists more. You adjust, like this. She approves. Better. Now play the scale again. After you finish, she notes, your timing improved, but watch the fingering on the arpeggios. You ask, should I practice with a metronome? She agrees. Yes. Start at 60 BPM. Scenario 84. Furniture store salesperson Miguel shows you a sofa. This model comes in 12 fabrics. You ask, is the charcoal microfiber stain resistant? He confirms, yes, and it's pet-friendly too. You test it. The cushions are firmer than I expected. Miguel offers, we have a plusher version in the same line. Scenario 85. Bike tour meeting guide Sophie briefs the group. We'll stop at 3 viewpoints. You ask, how strenuous is the route? She explains, mostly flat with 1 moderate hill. Another participant Ethan adds, I did this tour last month. The pace is very manageable. You confirm, are helmets provided? Sophie nods, yes, and water bottles too. Scenario 86. Eye exam optometrist Dr. Patel adjusts the phoropter. Which is clearer, 1 or 2? You squint. 2. But the edges are blurry. She changes lenses, now between 3 and 4. You decide. 3 is sharper. She notes. Your prescription changed slightly. Any eye strain at work? You admit. After long computer sessions. Scenario 87. Cooking demonstration chef Marco demonstrates. The secret is browning the butter first. You ask, at what point do we add the garlic? He advises, right before the wine to prevent burning. A fellow attendee Lila comments, that smells amazing. Chef Marco grins. Wait till you taste it. Now who's ready to try?